Okay, hello everyone. Today on the Casady Stems podcast, the Google Pixel and Samsung Galaxy devices had vulnerabilities, Google lying about Stadia, nVIDIA GeForce RTX 280 Ti super specs, what's app compromised, Mac Pro, and Windows 10. Anyways, to start off, the Google Pixel and Samsung Galaxy devices had vulnerabilities that allowed hackers to use the camera and the microphone. Google Pixel and Samsung Galaxy devices all had vulnerabilities that allowed access to the camera and microphone. Basically, those vulnerabilities would allow hackers to access the camera and microphone, as well as silence it so that you wouldn't hear the shutter click. Yeah, they were actually accessing the camera application. Google was lying about 4K games on Stadia. Games like Destiny were 1080p and upscaled to 4K. In other words, not 4K. Games like Red Dead Redemption 2 were 1440p and upscaled. In other words, not 4K. Of course, some of the blame for that is likely to be on Rockstar. Now, here's a rumor. The rumor. nVIDIA GeForce RTX 2080 Ti super specs have been released. Or leaked. 4,600 CUDA cores, full Turing TU102 GPU featured on it, 576 Tensor cores, 72 RT cores, 28 texture units, 28 texture units, and 96 ROPs, with 16 gigabit per second and 12 or 11 gigabit DDR6, 12 or 11 gigabyte GDDR, that's graphics dual data rate, 6 memory, and the base clock is 1350 megahertz and 1635 megahertz overclock. Now that is actually pretty good for graphics. WhatsApp has been compromised by spyware firm NSO. And Facebook, of course, took legal action against them. Facebook took legal action against them. Other vulnerabilities include nation-state attacks, targeted hacking, and malicious GIF images, and stack-based buffer overflow triggered by special MP4s. Now, for all of you Apple enthusiasts, rejoice! For the Mac Pro now has a release date. Sort of. It's actually a release month, not a date, which is set for December of 2019, which is actually this month, if coming this fall before December 21st. It'll obviously be $6,000 for cheapest, probably at least $45,000 for the most expensive unit.
$60,000 actually.
I hate that. There we go, much better. Had the room lighting on, but not my work light. Windows 10's November update is now available, even if you have outdated Realtek drivers. It has to do with obsolescence incompatibility, but it will now update the drivers with the Windows update. Now, if you still can't, drivers still can be updated manually. Trader Joe's is recalling several food products potentially contaminated with listeria. And every time I spell listeria, I want to spell it Lysteria. Fuji Food Products had a routine inspection by the FDA, and a problem was found and flagged, and therefore Fuji Food Products issued their first ever recall. Now, in case you don't know what listeria is, it is an infectious bacteria that causes listeriosis, and it's resistant to extreme hot and cold, and it's sometimes fatal to the frail, the elderly, and young children. In a completely different side of the news, nVIDIA is now entering the 7nm market, which effectively makes Intel, with x86 emulators excluded, the last processor manufacturer to enter the market. And there's not much news there because they like to surprise everyone. Next, Apple admits they're guilty. The 13-inch 2019 MacBook Pro randomly switching itself when running on battery was what was admitted. There is a way to fix it, but if you can't fix it, it is to do with the logic board. If you can't fix it yourself, you will need a new logic board, which effectively makes it an entirely new Mac. Now, in the automobile industry, 1.4 million more vehicles have been recalled. This time, vehicles with the 1995 through 2000 model year, which includes one of our vehicles. It is once again the airbag company, which causes airbag inflators to explode, underinflate, or spew out deadly shrapnel. And to be honest, it'll likely be 2023 before the recall is complete. Windows 10 version 1909 has now been released, which is the smallest major semi-annual update. I mean, there have been a few minor visual changes, and update notifications in File Explorer have been minorly tweaked, but it's mainly operations improvement. And they spent 6 months polishing it rather than 6 months developing new features. Come on, Microsoft, this should become permanent. Literally every single other operating system is that way.
Advice from Kiss Hades Stamps.
And now, it is time for Advice from Kiss Hades Stamps. I always recommend dynamic microphones over condensers if your room is untreated. Condensers, well, they pick up mouse squeaks in the next county over. Not just the next city, but the next county. Dynamic microphones, however, have a much better noise rejection. The only time you should ever use condensers is if your room is treated or you have no other option. Now, having the microphone out of the video frame that is not a reason to use a condenser microphone. Basically, the only time you should use condenser microphones in an untreated room is if you can't just walk around holding a dynamic microphone and you need to walk around. Basements, while just as acoustically bad, are generally more soundproof than upstairs, because the walls are actually concrete foundation walls, 8 inches thick of concrete, which means that less outside noise can actually enter. This is a bit controversial, but I say yes, you should monitor your audio. Especially important when gaming. Gaming, it really does not matter if you sound like your natural self. Podcasting, once again, I recommend you monitor your audio. Regardless of whether or not you do monitor your audio, use closed back headphones while recording. Open back headphones, as well as speakers like this, will be heard by your microphone. Now, you know how I said I'd always recommend using dynamic microphones? However, if doing unboxing, short films, or other things where getting up and walking around is necessary, do not use a dynamic microphone. They are not meant for that. Now, if your audio sounds rubbish and your mic should be good, you're probably using the wrong microphone. Or you could be speaking into the wrong side. Yeah, I'm doing that right now and I can tell it sounds awful. Or you could just be speaking into the back. As close as I could get, anyway. Make sure your correct microphone is selected. And make sure you are not side addressing a Shure SM7B or a Sennheiser E835 or an SM58. And also make sure you are not end addressing a Blue Yeti or basically any large diaphragm condenser microphone. And yes, I do know that the Blue Yeti is a small diaphragm condenser microphone. Now, if your desktop audio needs to be recorded, for example, for gaming, make sure that it is selected. Yeah, because if it's not selected, like I just did, like I just deselected it, it will not sound very good. Of course, this is a podcast, so it's not supposed to be enabled. Now, if you're recording things other than your face, so like gaming, Facecam should not be used for videos other than horror games, reaction videos, and similar. Do not use it for recording videos of Minecraft, writing things, or anything else where it doesn't add anything. However, do use Facecam for live streaming. Now, do not upscale content. It will not look like 1080p or 4K/2160p. It will look like 720p upscaled to 1080p or 4K. Upscaling 1080p to 1440p will have basically the same result. 1080p upscaled to 4K will most likely just look like 1080p. If watching on a small mobile device, like my tablet, it will look like upscaling and then downscaling. It minimizes scaling, and also, when the FPSage drops, it looks smoother and stays smooth longer. Now, do not buy a 4K display just to have 4K, and do not buy a 4K camera just to shoot in 4K. The vast majority of people do not care about resolution as long as it's watchable and enjoyable. The vast majority of people don't really care about frame rate either, as long as it's not slideshow frame rate. After all, 60 FPS is generally only subconsciously noticed.
Personal segment. This is it.
Okay, and now it's time for the personal segment. I did miss 2 weeks of the podcast because I have been very busy with the required preparations for Thanksgiving and also college work. And I also had a little bit more of focus on gaming, as well as a Christmas song stream that I did, which also had at least a couple Thanksgiving songs and at least one New Year's song. I connected both my microphone and my ukulele directly to the Behringer interface to make it sound live, rather than just using a microphone on my ukulele. Also, I only have one dynamic microphone, and I am not going to be using my Behringer B1, my condenser microphone, for this type of thing for the whole stream, except when I took a break. I stayed in the showroom and had a message. Also, another thing is that I got a laptop, my very own laptop, my first ever laptop that I have owned. It is also my first ever long-term use laptop. It is mainly for college, but it is also for traveling and for my camera count in Minecraft. And it is just a small and expensive one. Now, this is very interesting to me, but probably not to you, but I saw a Blue Yeti in person for the first time while I was shopping for my laptop. It was huge! A lot bigger than I was expecting, actually. I also saw the Yeti 10, Yeti Nano, Snowball, and Snowball Ice. Also, over at the Samsung corner, I saw a few Samsung microphones, including the Samsung Meteor, which is my brother's microphone, the Samsung G-Track Pro, and the Samsung Go. Now that Samsung Go is absolutely tiny, a lot smaller than I was expecting, actually. Anyways, last week was actually upload week on my second channel. I have at least one upload per day, using 1/3 of the notifications every day. Sunday was Behringer B1 unboxing. Monday was Casady Sam's podcast episode 7. Tuesday was a chat and integrated webcam test, which the audio for it sounded absolutely horrible. I was actually using my Sennheiser microphone with it, and the interface I was using was this guy. You see, because it's plug and play, I just plugged it in and didn't make sure to check any settings. Guess what? That was this really, really, really stupid decision. Yeah, this is actually the Pile PD USB PP10, my old audio interface. But yeah, I didn't check any settings, and apparently the sample rate was set to 8 kilohertz. On Wednesday, the Nubo N7 review came out. Thursday was the laptop unboxing, or will be. Today's actually Wednesday as I'm filming this. Friday was the Behringer B1 review. And Saturday will be the Vacation Photo Compilation Episode 1, assuming I can get it out. Next, my birthday and Christmas are both coming up, and I'm becoming old. 19 to be exact. Now, for Christmas, we are still needing to use the small tree, which you can just barely see a glimpse of, because unfortunately the rabbits will eat the large tree, and there is no room for the tree up there with them anyway, and there's no place to move the rabbits to. Plus, it would be really hard to move their cages, considering they actually have big cages. Next, I am deciding to become better at YouTubing, specifically editing videos right away. I have been really, really bad at that. Also not being excessively jump cutty, lower gain on interface, and lower attenuation in obs and slobs. I think my attenuation here may still be a bit too much. That should be better. Of course, it gives more headroom for the volume without it clipping. Now, nothing visual will be changing, so all the designs are here to stay, and no music is being removed either. Now, I do have a Christmas intro, specifically for Christmas time, which I sometimes forget to use, and I sometimes use it just for fun. I shouldn't be doing that, but I do. However, I don't have a Christmas outro. I will, however, mute the outro and play my Christmas theme song. Next, no YouTubers personal in these past recent episodes. Yeah, currently I can't think of anything personal pertaining to YouTubers. My 100 subscribers special is now completely recorded, and I will begin editing very soon. And of course, my final point. I am back. But unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, that is actually all I've got time for. I really do hope you've enjoyed this video. If you did, then please do hit that like button, and if you really loved it, then please be sure to subscribe. But anyways, this has been Casady Stamps. Cheers for watching, and I will see you all later. Bye. Oh, also, I am using earbuds for this because they were the closest ones I had. I hate earbuds.